Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Sorry, I got to push ahead. Got 2 segments of material left over. I got to get them into one segment. So, Obama is cratering. Petraeus is the Bonapartist coup, the new von Hindenburg waiting in the wings. This is not the new Hitler yet, but it's the one who leads you in that direction. Von Hindenburg, of course, the one who destroyed the economy by approving the decree laws of Brüning between 1930 and 1932, and then called Hitler to become the chancellor. What is the point of these London riots? Well, it's to consolidate a dictatorship. The color revolution in the Western world, I think we see it now. It's similar to France in 2005, where pretty obviously orchestrated riots in the banlieue, the Paris suburbs among North African and other immigrant workers, were used to project Sarkozy into the presidency when he called them rascals or scoundrels, la racaille. This is now similar. So what do we get after these riots, right? And this is, we've seen it in Newark, we've seen it in Detroit, we've seen it in Watts, we've seen it in Los Angeles in the beginning of the 1990s. Serious, deplorable. Not the end of the world, but now you see Cameron says, we're going to turn off the Internet. We're going to turn off Facebook or turn off Twitter, and we're going to turn off the BBM Blackberries. And then you see some real interesting stuff. The UK Independence Party, this Nigel Farage, the Europe hater, the anti-Euro guy, he wants martial law. He wants the British Army to take over the country. Last time that was done was Cromwell with major generals. The last time Britain had a military dictatorship, not so doggone good. Don't go back to that. So this entire thing, it seems to me, is a bogus sham. It's a fraud. This is a dog and pony show designed to get people to demand martial law with the help of our wonderful heroes over at the UK Independence Party. Now, here in the United States, it's town hall season. Representative Welsh of Vermont has been lectured by his constituents on the need to vote against the Libyan war. Let's look at Libya. After the Yunus assassination, we've now got the revelations on how this was all done. The government, the Benghazi Rebel Council, no government at all, but an anti-government, the Benghazi Rebel Council fell this week. Their government is in the process of being ousted. And here's the outlines we're now getting of the conspiracy. The deputy chairman of the Benghazi Rebel Council, Essawi, was in a conspiracy with the defense minister, Dugaili, along with Hifter, to kill Yunus, the general who was assassinated last week. It's likely that Essawi and Dugaili will be ousted. We've also got Tarmouni, the oil minister, and the health minister, Barakat, who is also, these are likely to be ousted. So imagine a government where the vice president, the secretary of defense get together with a disgruntled, ambitious general like Hifter to assassinate the supreme commander. That's the democracy of the Benghazi Rebel Council. Now, this is the 14 tyrants of the Benghazi Rebel Council. Remember, the Rebel Council, that's the steering committee. The council itself has 30 to 40 members, most of them still secret because they're from Al-Qaeda, Libyan Islamic Fighting Group, you name it. And remember, the actual hit was carried out by the February 18th Martyrs Brigade. The February 18th Martyrs Brigade, which was a branch of the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group and therefore of Al-Qaeda. So Hifter, the CIA's man, called in Al-Qaeda with the help of these other figures, Essawi and Dugaili, to remove physically and permanently Yunus. This is the group that now has a building here in Washington, D.C. The State Department of Hillary Clinton, in an excess of lunacy, has delivered the Washington Embassy of Libya to the hands of the Benghazi Rebel Council, meaning, in effect, Al-Qaeda. Don't look now, folks. Al-Qaeda has a privileged sanctuary, not in the Hindu Kush, not in Somalia, but in Washington, D.C., on Virginia Avenue. Virginia Avenue, not far from the Watergate office building, not far from the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. You better not go too much to the opera this season, or the symphony, the National Symphony. It's within sight of the Whitehurst Freeway and the Key Bridge. So you see that part of Washington. It's practically Foggy Bottom. Not that far from the State Department. I'm surprised she did it. So we're always getting these reports that the siege of Tripoli is about to begin. I remember myself on the way back from Libya, passing through Tunis in one of the French newspapers of Tunisia. This was July 4th. The siege of Tripoli is about to begin. That was July 4th. It's now the 12th of August. Still hasn't begun. So Syria, it looks to me like the Syrian army, as I had occasion to say on Press TV this week, the Syrian army is now quelling this rebellion. The death squads and terror commandos of the Muslim Brotherhood are being repressed by the action of the Syrian army. I would say this is likely to be over. And don't believe in the gay girl of Damascus school of journalism. Now, a couple of other political events. The Wisconsin results. The Wisconsin results show a huge potential for New Deal America. And under difficult conditions, with heavy money coming in from Koch and other reactionary bigwigs, it was still possible to oust 2 reactionary senators in Republican-leaning districts. So the recall elections, it was 6. The Democrats won 2. 4 Republicans were able to prevail. This is already significant inroads into the Republican voting base. The next question is now to oust, to recall the fascist Governor Walker. A friend of Congressman Ryan was defeated, but unfortunately, State Senator Darling, a friend of Walker, was not defeated. Again, the gold of Koch explains a lot of these things. But the main thing here is the fecklessness of the Democratic Party. Obama, back in February and March, there was clearly a general strike, a mobilization of the entire population of Wisconsin. Obama, what did you do? You did nothing. One tepid, half-hearted, damning with faint praise statement. Obama, why didn't you go there? Why didn't you blow into town and go and make a speech to this wonderful crowd of activists? All right, Obama, you're too much of a coward and a wimp to go there. But maybe Hilda Solis, the Secretary of Labor, send in the Secretary of Labor. Send in Eric Holder. But laws were being violated. People were being deprived of their rights and their civil rights. Remember what Kennedy would do. Robert Kennedy and John F. Kennedy, well, when they saw a racist governor running wild, they would send, and even Eisenhower would send the National Guard. Eisenhower sent the National Guard to Little Rock, Arkansas, to prevent the racist Governor Faubus from blocking the law of the land. And in this case, we had a fascist governor. So then it was a racist governor. Now we've got fascist governors. Kennedy and Robert Kennedy showed what to do. You use the power of the federal government in the same way you used it on Roger Blau. You put the fear of God into those local tin pot reactionary bigwigs. And in this case, of course, Obama did absolutely nothing. The other thing is the entire Democratic Party platform was, and you heard this, it was astounding. They would say, we refuse to fight for wages and benefits and working conditions. We only fight for union rights. So they're not going to fight for wages. You're not going to fight for benefits, pensions, and other important things, the health care, none of that. You're not willing to fight for, you're only willing to fight for the union. Hey, that sounds like you don't care about the workers. You just care about some trade union crats. You care about some bureaucratic hacks, right? The Bansen, as they were called in Germany back in the Weimar Republic. The crats. You care about trade union bureaucrats, labor skates, scissor bills, whatever you want to call them. Those are the guys you fight for. You don't fight for the workers. How can you win if you're not fighting for trade union rights? Yes, of course, but so that you can have wages and job security and working conditions. Now, the last point. The Federal Reserve had a meeting this week. They did this to bring back the markets. We're now told that we're going to have 2 more years of 0% lending. That means 0% lending into 2013. There's talk of a QE3. But let's remember, the Fed has a dual mandate, currency stability and full employment. The Fed has done nothing for full employment. Nothing. They're talking about arrows in the quiver, policy bullets. Is there a silver one? Yeah, there is. Keynes has been tried and failed. Monetarism has been tried and failed. Let's go back to the New Deal, to the study that we've made of the New Deal and of Lend-Lease. Let's do the Voitinsky-Lautenbach method. Let's have a bill that the Federal Reserve is going to put out one first tranche of $1 trillion at 0% interest for 50 years, as a rediscount guarantee for the bonds of states and entities like the New York Port Authority that are building infrastructure, the Transcontinental Maglev, the Eastern Corridor, the West Coast, the Texas T-Bone, the Great Lakes Express, and all of that. You can't do it through the banks. You've got to do it directly to the states and these lending authorities. Shovel ready. So no more zombie banks. 0% federal credit. 50-year maturities. Put those empty factories together with unemployed workers. You get a recovery. More about this next time.